everyone, and welcome back to Spooky Book Club. Today is our monthly Spooky Book Club extravaganza where we review and discuss the book from last month. If you're looking for the new book announcement, so the 2 new spooky book options for the month of July, that is a whole separate video, so that should already be up. So if you're looking for that, I will have it linked in the description box for you. But in this video, we're gonna be reviewing and discussing the book from last month, which was A Night in the Lonesome October by Roger. Am I right? I don't know. I keep wanting to call him Robert. I don't know what's come over me, but I want to make Roger Robert. Yes. Roger, I almost said it again, Roger Zelazny. Anyways, Roger Zelazny, I think is the correct way. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. If you're new here to the book discussion and review, I'm just gonna do a really quick overview, just a quick review. So if you didn't read it, I'll just let you know. Is it worth reading? Was it good? Just a general review of the book. And then we'll get into the in-depth discussion, the spoilers, and I'll let you know when that's happening. So if you're here because you don't know if you're reading it or not, then I'll let you know before the spoilers happen so we don't have to ruin it for you. And then as we get into the discussion, if you want to respond to anything I'm saying, I'll ask you questions or just talk about in general different reactions to things, that kind of stuff. If you want to react to my reactions or how you felt about the book or just a general review, or if you have any questions for anyone else, you can do all of that in the comment section. We'll just have an open discussion. That's kind of what we do in the review and discussion portion. So I'm going to jump into this. If you haven't read this book yet, A Night in the Lonesome October, it's kind of become, I guess, one of those books where people read it every single year in October. Every day in October, they read a chapter. But since last month was Halloween in June, even though there's only 30 days, I wanted to do a Halloween-ish book for Halloween in June. So this is the one we chose. And it's kind of a book, like I don't really know how to describe it because first of all, if you're looking for a book that's really scary, like really terrifying, this is not the book. This book was not really scary at all. There were some moments of suspense. There was a little bit of mystery in there. Mainly the spooky element of this book was in the characters. So this definitely had more of a spooky Halloween feel. So it had different characters like, Frankenstein and a Dracula type of character, a witch type of character, and then all different types of animals or familiars that were attached to each character. So you had a bat and a snake and a cat and a raven, but definitely spooky elements throughout the book. So the book itself, without ruining it, it's about a ceremony that happens on Halloween. There are people in this town, people and animals in this town who are preparing for this big ceremony. And they don't really know what side people are on. They really don't know who's gonna be in the ceremony yet. They don't know where the ceremony is gonna be. They know nothing. So all of the different players are trying to figure this out throughout the book and also trying to prepare for this ceremony. That's all I'm gonna give away because, oh well, no, I will say this. It's from the perspective of a dog, which it gets me all excited because, you know, I love dogs. It's one of those books where you don't really know what's going on until towards the end of the book, which I can definitely see why people read this book every single year because it's definitely one of those books that every single year you would catch on to details that you missed before. But I would say this book was an enjoyable, spooky read. It was not terrifying, it wasn't scary. So if you're looking for really, really scary books in Spooky Book Club, this was definitely not even close to one of them. But there are darker topics. It's definitely not a kid's book, I wouldn't say. There are definitely darker topics in this story that make it an adult version of Halloween Town, but it still isn't very scary. If you haven't read the book and you're just wanting to know if you should read it, I think you should, because I think it's just a nice Halloween book, just nice and spooky, but not too scary kind of situation. So I think you should read it. At least in October, read it. All right, so I think that's it for the general review. We're gonna jump into the discussion and spoiler part of this video because I need to talk about this ending with literally anyone who will listen or wants to talk about it. So yeah, we're gonna get into the spoilers, but I'm gonna let you go if you haven't read the book yet because I don't want you to know the spoilers, unless of course you want to stay for the spoilers. You can of course do what you want, but if you're planning on reading it, I'll let you go. I'm going to take a drink of my water. Okay, I don't know why this keeps happening, but my camera keeps disconnecting from the monitor. We're moving on to the discussion and spoilers. I'm all excited. Okay, so what did you think of A Night in the Lonesome October? Did you like it? Was it not scary enough for you? Did you find it spooky? Did you like the characters? What was your favorite part? Tell me all the things. Tell me down in the comments what you thought. I really just enjoyed it. Like, I just went along for the ride. It wasn't the scariest book I ever read or anything like that, but I wasn't mad about that, actually. I just enjoyed the characters and I enjoyed the whole story. Most of the time I had no idea what was even happening in this book, but it didn't even annoy me because it was October. All right, I'm gonna say this before I get to my notes. I loved all the characters in this book. Even the ones I didn't love, I loved. I appreciated even the evil ones, I guess is what I'm saying. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the characters. I especially, of course, loved the animals. I love that the actual humans were kind of just like in the background of this whole book, and that most of the dialogue and everything that went on, it was all happening like the chatter, you know, amongst the animals. And I guess I could say this. I'll ask you a question then. Who is your favorite character in the whole book? Who's your favorite? My favorite character was Snuff because, you know, I'm a dog ghoul. I love cats too. I love all animals, but Snuff just, I don't know, there was something about him. I was rooting for him. I was hoping, I was afraid he was gonna die, honestly, because this dog goes out there. He's kind of that middle ground. He's working with everyone pretty much. He's giving everybody information, like, you know, do what you will with this kind of thing. And like, there's obviously an exchange of information, but he's working with everybody. He's not like, oh, you're an opener, so I'm not gonna tell you about this. Even when Jack said, oh, are you sure that you want to be hanging around the cat? Like, are you sure you're not going to get too attached? Are you sure she's trustworthy, kind of thing? And Snuff still hung out with her. It's kind of just like Snuff was just this good boy is what he was. And maybe I'm still sentimental about Bailey. And so Snuff was just like, I was imagining Bailey in my mind. So maybe that's why Snuff was my favorite. But yeah, Snuff was just my favorite. I thought he really did, like, he gave everyone that fair shot to fight their fight. Like, he kind of put all the information out there. I was like, do with it what you will. And he was just he was such a good boy. I'm gonna put that out there. Anyways, okay. And now I didn't make a whole lot of notes in this book because there was so much going on that I would be writing everything down. And I'm not going to go step by step through it because I don't even know if I remember the order of everything that was happening because it was just so wild. There was just so much going on. The Dracula moved like 300 times. The Frankenstein situation was all over the place. There was a lot going on in this book and I was having a hard time keeping up. But there were some parts that got me. So the whole situation where Snuff and the cat, Greymalk or whatever her name was, go to the vicar's house and they're kind of rummaging around the house and the albino raven sees them and warns the vicar, who comes in, and there's this whole brawl. The cat is flung in the air or something, and then here comes the dog, and the dog mauls the dude's ear off. That whole part, like anything with the animals, when it got to the point of possibly them, like something happening to them, it just crushed my soul. I was like, please get away. Like, this guy's horrible. That guy was the worst. Like, he was a good villain for the book. Like, I liked him as a villain, but didn't like him at all. Like, I don't like him or anything he does at all. But as a villain, I thought he was effective, is what I'll put out there. Because if you're gonna make me angry at somebody or really feel this just like absolute like disgust and rage about somebody, it's anyone who does anything like that to animals. Like, I can't. That whole part was really suspenseful with the biting the ear off, and then the vicar wanting revenge was horrible. I hated that whole part. Where Snuff is in this kennel where these people are dissecting, you know, I don't know, torturing. I don't know what was happening. I didn't like it, whatever it was. I read through it really quickly so I didn't have to read about the animals and what was going on. I don't know if anyone else does that, but I was just like, okay, next. Jack comes in, saves Snuff. I'm over, we're out of here. Let me know if you're similar in that way, if that part really got you. But I think at the end of the day, it really makes you really dislike the vicar, and that was effective for sure. I feel like every time something bad was gonna happen to Snuff, I was just preparing myself. I'm like, you're gonna cry, Ghoul. Like, this is gonna be heartbreaking. And then either Jack showed up or the detective showed up thankfully, because I was sweating. Okay, so I will say this, a really confusing part to me was when they go on that dreamland adventure. I don't know how I felt about that part of the book. I don't really know, like I'm just a little bit confused about the whole thing. Like I get the big cat, or like the cat that was giving them all that information. Turns out we really needed that part to happen because of the stick, what was it? Get the stick, or catch the stick, or fetch the stick. That's what it was. That ended up coming in at the end, which we'll talk about, but that whole part I felt was kind of slow and wasn't my favorite. Let me know what you thought of it down in the comments. Maybe you liked the description of all the lands and all that, but I was just like, can we get home? Yeah, we need to figure out what's going on with everybody. Time is ticking away. So I don't know. I just felt like it was very slow, that whole part. That was the only part that I didn't like in the whole book, honestly. But I liked the part where they actually get to the cat. Like once they get to, what was her name? Greymock's dad or whatever, or whatever he was. The elder. I thought that part, once they get there, was fine. But then the whole dreamland part, I wasn't fully into. Anyways, I don't even know where to go now. What do my notes say? I feel like it was just... I guess I'll talk about one more thing that was suspenseful, and then we'll move on to like towards the end of the book. But the other suspenseful part that got me was when the house, like all that big storm or whatever that was that happened, where the slithery things escaped from the mirror and the other things escaped from the box. I really don't know what any of those were. I know they were going to use it in the ceremony to help them. So I did get that, but the whole thing was just, those creatures were interesting. Anyway, so then Jill and Greymock show up, and here's the thing. I don't know if anyone else thought this, but I thought it was possible because we learned that it only happened at their house. There was no other storm anywhere else. And I almost thought that Jill and Greymock maybe had played a role. Here they are miraculously showing up at the door after this storm, and they're like, oh, is everything okay? And I'm like, I don't know. Is everything okay? I didn't know. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you thought maybe they played a role in it. And then I was, of course, like the vicar could have been, you know, trying to get revenge, or could have been the doctor with his electricity stuff going on. So I didn't know for sure, but I thought maybe it could have been Jill and the cat, and they were playing off like this whole, like they were trying to get close to them to be friends with them and then turn on them. I didn't know, but I thought maybe that was a possibility. Let me know in the comments if you thought the same thing, or if you thought that they were friends and innocent and all that kind of stuff. Let me know in the comments. Okay, so that's kind of all I had to say about that part. But now we're getting into where I really think this started unfolding, because we kind of knew Larry was the dog, and we found out the detective was the new neighbor, and like all these little things were happening. The vicar was the evil guy, and like we were starting to piece everything together. So I feel like it started unraveling when the Frankenstein house burned down. And then we find out that the doctor wasn't even a player in the game, which we thought for sure. So, and I had no idea he wasn't. I figured he was. And then we also find out that the rat wasn't a player either. So all of this changes everything. Now they know where the ceremony is going to be. It's at that rock place wherever they went on that dreamland adventure. And we now have a better idea of who's an opener and who's a closer. And then we find out that the Count is alive, which just blew my mind. I knew at that moment he was going to be a closer. When they asked if he was an opener or a closer, I was like, there's no way it's just going to be Jack and Snuff versus everybody else. He's got to be a closer. And because it's a surprise, like he's trying to surprise the vicar, tells me 100% that he's a closer. Because if he's an opener, why wouldn't he just like go be with his friends? You know what I mean? So, all right, so I made a note, and I have to ask, were you on team opener or team closer? Because I feel like it could go either way. Like, here's the thing that makes this decision complicated, because at the time before the ending, that we knew the ending, it's kind of like, are you team Snuff or team Greymock? Because if one lives, the other one dies. And that killed me a little bit. I know Jack and Snuff talked about it, and he was like, yes, this is going to be a sad one kind of thing, but they were both going to lose their friends. And I was kind of wanting this, and maybe it was never going to happen, and who's to say that they would end up together at all. I just wanted to see a love connection between one of them, either the dog and the cat, or the, you know, Jack and Jill. I don't know. There was like a good chemistry there. I don't know if I felt it as much between Snuff and Grey Mock. I definitely felt like a brother-sisterly kind of relationship there, but I did kind of feel it, even though we don't have a lot of information, with Jack and Jill. It just seemed like they're having beverages together and they're in deep conversations together. They're about their inner beliefs and stuff that you share with intimate partners. You know what I mean? I don't know. Did they end up together? Like, I want to know. But if anyone else felt the same way, let me know down in the comments. Did you want to see a spooky love connection after that ceremony? Because they had literally been through basically hell and back together, all of them. So I don't know. I wanted to see something there. Now we're getting into, I think we're getting into the ceremony. I probably missed a bunch of stuff. If I did and there's something you want to talk about, let me know down in the comments. So now we get to the ceremony. The whole ceremony was a disaster. And I loved it. It was all drama. It was amazing. It's like spooky, dark, evil drama. And you got the bonfire and whatever else. And the vicar cannot help himself. He is just got his cape that he's whipping around, flowing everywhere. Dude is whipping out his pentacle bowl or whatever he had. I don't even know how anyone in this circle is standing there like taking this guy seriously. I mean, everyone, like, I would be laughing hysterically because this guy is really trying. Like, he thinks he is it. Like, he is the opener and he thinks he's gonna really win. And he thinks he's also gonna sacrifice this innocent girl. Like, no, sir, you're not. No one here is gonna let this happen. But I literally just finished it and I still am like, okay, I need to read this again because there was so much detail, everything that happened. I'm still like, wait, what? I believe it was the detective that ended up saving the girl. So Larry got shot. That plan was, they were like, oh no. And then here comes the detective. So the girl is luckily gone. And the vicar still thinks he is it. He's like confused that this isn't working out the way he planned. Okay, so then the count, here comes the count. The moon, this is the most dramatic ceremony of my life. And I loved every minute of it. So the moon is covered. It goes pitch black. And here comes Dracula, or the count, or whatever. To me, it's Dracula. Any count is Dracula to me. Here he comes, puts his hand on Jack's shoulder and is like, I'm here to help. Like, he's on the closer team, which we knew he'd be a closer. I was all excited. He had closer vibes from the beginning. He was actually kind of one of my favorite characters in the whole book. I don't know, there was something, we didn't really know a whole lot about him, but there was just a vibe. I just was feeling it. And then when he came in and then he kind of just made this whole statement and he was really like trying to get back at that vicar for being a huge a-hole. And I don't know, there was just something I liked about him, very discreet. So here we go. Here comes the count. He's in the game and we're getting started with the ceremony, or we're already in the ceremony. I can't remember when the count came in. I think it was after Larry got shot, right? I don't remember. So then they're all distracted, yeah, because I think they're distracted by the count, right? When the other dude comes in and gets the girl, which was the detective, right? And like the disguise of a wolf or something, or a dog or something, comes up and gets the girl and they're on. And then everyone's distracted by the count, I think. Is this what was happening? Whatever. Doesn't matter, because now here comes the rat, everybody. Here comes the rat. So here comes the rat saying, well, I was worried because you were outnumbered, so I switched the wands. I don't know why I'm looking around like there are people here, but like, what do you mean you switched the wands? Was anyone else totally thrown by that? I was like, wait, what does this mean? What's gonna happen? Because if anything goes wrong, does everybody die? What happens? Like, what? Whoa. And in the meantime, there's this big opening that's like this tentacles coming through the opening. The most drama. And then, and the opening was getting bigger, which means dude was winning. Jack was winning. So I didn't know. I thought like the whole thing was just gonna, like, everyone was gonna die. Something bad was gonna happen. Because these freaking wands were switched. The tentacles are coming. Well, That came out of nowhere. So here we go. Snuff realizes that the elder cat didn't say catch the stick or fetch the stick. He said fetch the wand. So here comes Snuff, grabs the wand out of Jack's hand and flings it around or whatever. And then they realize that it's closing back up, and then they throw the slithery things at it and it closes up. I'm imagining Stranger Things. Is that what anyone else was imagining? This like all like messed up, whatever. And then Jill, I don't understand what happened at this end. Okay, here's the thing. The thing closes up. Jack and Jill go down the hill. The end. The end. Was anyone else like, what? What do you mean, the end? What happened? Like, like, how did Jill live? Like, did Jill live because she had the closer wand? So she involuntarily became a closer? So can you do that? Like, you don't have to announce it ahead of time. You don't have to let everybody know you are a closer. You can just involuntarily become a closer and then live if you win. So you really could have gone both ways. Like, I don't understand how this was allowed and the rules that you could just like, what if it wasn't closing up and it was open? Would she have thrown the wand? Like, was she just waiting to like see who was gonna win? Like, I'm so confused was this the plan all along? Like, I don't know what happened, and the ending was just Jack and Jill went down the hill, the end. What do you mean the end? What do you mean? What happened? Like, I know she lived, and I know Jack and Jill lived, went down the hill, they clearly lived, but why? Was anyone else frustrated, or am I missing something? What happened? Like, was I reading too fast? Because sometimes when things get really exciting and dramatic, I read really fast because I'm just like in it. I gotta know what's happening. And then the end. I mean, I liked the whole ending ceremony part. That whole part was really dramatic, intense. It was a whole show, especially the vicar with his cape. He was like the most. So we go from this intense moment to Jack and Jill go down the hill. Did I miss an entire page? Did I like accidentally click twice on my Kindle? Or is that how it ended? Because like I was shocked. I like went to the next page to see if there was another chapter and there's nothing. It was the end. Here are recommended books. Which was, I didn't understand. I just want a little bit of something. Just a little bit. It doesn't have to be everything in detail, a whole other book, a whole other story. Just a little paragraph of like, oh, something, anything, give us something. Anyways, and is the Count alive? What happened to him? The vicar killed him? I can't remember what happened to anybody. This was just, I'm just so shocked by that abrupt ending. I don't know what's happening. Let me know what you thought about the ending down in the comments. And yeah, and just about the book in general. If I missed anything, we can talk all about it in the comments. If you're gonna talk about your favorite parts, your favorite characters, or anything that stood out to you or didn't make sense or what you didn't like or anything you disagree with, whatever it is. That's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed the book of the month for June and hope you're excited for July's spooky book of the month. And yeah, anyways, hope you've been enjoying book club and hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you can give it a thumbs up, say hey, cool, hey, down in the comments because you know I love talking to you. Anyways, thank you so much for watching and I will see you guys next time.